once in a lifetime opportunity, and I must say my very first idioms lesson. You people have asked me and requested, Ronnie, please do idioms. Ronnie, please do idioms. And Ronnie goes, Ronnie doesn't like idioms because I don't really use idioms. I don't think they're very useful. But then today, an idiom popped in my head. And it had to do with seafood. Now, I don't remember what the idiom was because it was the morning and I was walking to school innocently. But I started to think about seafood and fish. I got a little sick because I hate seafood. I don't really like fish either. But I thought, wow, do you know what? I'm going to teach you because you want to learn about idioms. So here you go. Ronnie's very first, hopefully not the last, lesson about idioms. These ones are with seafood and fish. The first one, you can say he or she is a shrimp. Now, do you know what a shrimp is? I will draw you a picture. I'm not very good at drawing pictures, but I'm going to try. So a shrimp is a little sea creature that has a lot of legs and a tail. Yeah, it looks like that. So the meaning of he's a shrimp or she's a shrimp means the person is very short. Not necessarily thin, but quite short. So you can say the person is a shrimp. You probably want to eat that person now, don't you? I don't. So he's a shrimp means a very short person. We have another expression that I really like. I don't understand why we use it, but we do. The world is your oyster. Oyster is another type of seafood. It's a shellfish. Now, the problem with me in drawing shellfish is they're all going to look the same. But an oyster is quite a large shellfish. The outside of the oyster is black, and inside it can be either like an orangey pink color or it can be white. And dun 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 dun, the thing that's very special about an oyster is they make precious pearls. So maybe you have a pearl necklace. The pearl was made in an oyster. So the expression, the world is your oyster, means you can do anything you want to do. Isn't that cool? The world is your oyster. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. There are no limits. If you want to do something, go and do it and get a pearl necklace. Another expression is a fine kettle of fish. This I don't think is too difficult to understand, but fine means very good, and a kettle of fish is a big pot full of fish. A long time ago, we were very dependent on nature for our food, so having a big kettle or a big pot of fish is a really, really good thing because that means that you would have a lot of food to live on. Now we have processed food and we can make genetic food, so we don't rely on nature as much as we used to. So a fine kettle of fish means you're going to eat for a while, but we mean this to mean a really, really good situation. So it's a good situation. The next one, pool shark. Pool shark, shark. Pool shark, funnily enough. Pool, maybe you're thinking of a swimming pool. Oh, no. Pool is a game. Another word for it is 8-ball, okay? A different kind of pool game is billiards. So 8-ball and pool are the same and billiards is different. But a pool shark is someone, usually a man, who is very, very, very good at the game of 8-ball or the game of pool. Just in case you don't know, 8-ball is a game. You have 16 balls here, and the object is to use a cue and to hit the balls into the pockets. So if you are a pool shark, it means you are very good at this game. This is not a good thing. Fish outta water. Now, outta is how we would normally say out of. But in native speaking, we don't say out of, we say outta. Fish outta water. So, if you think about this, if you're a fish, where do you live? The ocean, or a fish tank if you're not a lucky fish. If you are a fish out of water, what's going to happen? First of all, you're going to feel very uncomfortable, probably a little dry, and then guess what? You're going to die. So, people use the expression to say, I feel like, or I felt like a fish out of water. It basically means that you feel very uncomfortable. It doesn't mean you're going to die. It just means you feel very uncomfortable. Good. The next one. This has been shortened over the years. We used to say something smells fishy. Ew, fish stinks. But we've shortened it to something's fishy. If something's fishy, it means something's a little strange or a little weird, but we don't know exactly why. We're not sure, but something may be weird. So something's fishy means something is weird or strange. Something's not right. Fresh off the boat. This sounds nice. It sounds like some really fresh seafood. Well, guess what? It isn't seafood at all. Fresh off the boat, or FOTB, apparently is a term that is used. It's actually referring to people who have immigrated to, let's say, Canada, or immigrated to a different city, or a different country. They've traveled by ship or by boat, and they don't really understand the language or the cultures or the customs of their new country. So a lot of people would say, oh, she's fresh off the boat. It means she doesn't understand the culture of what's around her. So fresh off the boat, I think it's kind of a negative term, but apparently it's used a lot. But it just means that you're a new immigrant. And you don't really know that much about the culture. But you'll learn. Funnily enough, we have another kind of shellfish, and this is a clam. Now, this is my picture of a clam. And I'm sorry, I can't draw a clam or an oyster, but a clam is usually smaller than an oyster, and it's used a lot in a soup called clam chowder. It's very common in the east coast of America and in Canada. Clams is an old word to mean money. So if you watch probably 1970 or 1980 gangster movies, it'll say like, how many clams for that? Bottle of whiskey. So clams, in a very old sense, means money. The next one, clammy, is an adjective. Clammy is kind of a strange word, but it means that you feel cold and wet or damp. So you can say, I feel clammy. It's kind of like you're in the ocean and then you get out of the ocean and you forgot your towel. So it has a bad connotation of not a good feeling. You feel kind of wet and kind of cold. So clammy means a wet and a cold feeling. Not a good feeling. The next phrase, clammed up. As an example, he clammed up during his speech. What do you think that means? He turns into a clam? If someone clams up, it means they their mouth becomes a clam, I guess. It means that he stopped talking. Maybe he couldn't talk. Maybe he forgot what he was going to say. So the idiom clammed up means that somebody stopped talking. Dun, 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 dun. I don't understand this either, but it's an idiom. This is why idioms are so strange and Ronnie doesn't teach them. Happy as a clam. It means that these clams are really, really happy. So I guess we should do one of these. And it means that you feel happy like a happy clam. Crazy English. What would a lesson be with Ronnie without some dirty sex in it? Oh yeah, don't worry. We are not free of the seafood and the fish innuendos without a little bit of slang sex. Now maybe you've had sex with someone and he or she didn't really do anything. Maybe they just kind of lied there or just lay there and they didn't participate in the sexual encounter. You can say she or he was like a dead fish. Now this doesn't mean the smell, I hope, but a dead fish would maybe move around a little bit and then not move. So you can imagine how exciting this person would be if you were going to have sex with someone. So it's usually used for women, I don't know why, but she was like a dead fish. This means she did not participate in the action, okay? Dead fish, bad meaning, boring. So if someone calls you a dead fish, it's not good, very boring. One of my favorites, trouser trouts. Trouser is a very old and very British word for pants. And a trouser trout or a flounder. A flounder and a trout are a kind of fish. I will draw a picture of a fish. Yay! But, surprise, surprise, a trouser trout or a flounder actually is not a fish at all. It is a man's penis. Trouser trout or flounder. And not to forget the ladies, the lady bits. We have something called a fish taco. Oh, that's disgusting, isn't it? Fish, gross. I hate fish. So fish taco, if you can imagine, is actually the vagina of the lady. The lady's vagina. So representing the male sexual organs, we have the trouser trouts or the flounder. And for all the ladies out there, your fish taco is a slang word for your vagina. Are you hungry? Would you like some seafood? The next time you go to a restaurant and they have flounder on the menu, I dare you to order it. Bye-bye. This is All with Idioms with Ronnie.